Happy Hoarder here, and I'm delighted to be participating in this collaboration that I'm actually one of the hosts. And I want to thank my co-host Nancy from Little Treasures by Nancy for making this so much fun, and I am looking forward to everybody's videos who participated, so keep watching. Instead of building my furniture from scratch, I've been scouring the internet for lots of vintage dollhouse furniture, and one of my boxes that I got actually off Facebook with a house was this wonderful chair, but the chair had started to peel. So I wanted to fix that. The first thing I did is I went over the whole thing with Mod Podge and let that dry. That just kind of gave me a little bit of a glue to kind of hold the vinyl together. And then I started painting it using a combinations of browns, and I also mixed a little bit of the Mod Podge into it to kind of create this translucency, and I definitely wanted it to stick. I think the Mod Podge is really going to help it stick. And I did use a little of my favorite product, which is the gel medium that is called Extender, the paint extender that helps kind of water down your paint so you can blend it better. And so I'm doing that, and this is not a slow process, by the way. I had to fast forward. I know y'all get so tired of fast forward videos, but this was hours of adding and subtracting lights and darks to kind of get the look I wanted. But I highly recommend you try this. Just take a light shade, a dark shade, and even a medium shade can help. But you can just play with it. And sorry about that, it's kind of out of the scene. You know me, I'm still learning how to do all this. I have yet to figure out how to use the overhead. So at the end, I did go over it again with some more Mod Podge. Now, I will tell you, I used both gloss and flat and kind of mixed it up because I wanted it to look worn in places, like that was part of the goal. It was to make it look like that. And so by using the flat, it looked a little more scuffed up. And then the gloss, or regular, it just has a little bit of a gloss in it, gave it that look of the finer leather, especially on the back where it wouldn't have gotten anywhere. So here I basically globbed on the flat, and I'm just putting it, as you see, I'm just kind of scuffing it around the back, the arms, and places like that where I felt like it would have shown more wear. Now, I actually did this 2 different colors. I don't know if you noticed at the beginning, I was leaning more towards the browns, and then I decided I wanted to go darker just because of my decor. Either way, it's going to look awesome. Sorry, I'm out of the screen again because that's how I roll. But it'll pop in and out. But the most important part about doing any of these repaints is I believe, and I did not follow anybody's instructions, so I know that this worked for me. Start by using my Mod Podge as your primer just to kind of keep all the little peely parts glued down. Let that dry, and then come back with your lights and darks, whatever color you choose. I like the browns, but I did kind of want a darker, blacker chair. And then here's my finished product. And I know you can see mostly the gloss is showing up. And then I remembered, oh my goodness, I have a stool that goes to this, and I hate to paint this. And I would recommend this, do them at the same time. But I forgot that I had a footstool to this particular chair. I know I have footstools to other chairs that I have, so I was glad I found this. And it just took a lot less time because it was a lot less chair. And I did the same procedure to come up with this. Now, while talking about gluing, here's the bed that I'm gluing, and I'm just kind of doing a little zoom in. As you can see, the chair did have some damage on the back. It's got like a little dimple, and I couldn't figure out a way to get rid of that. Something is in there poking it out. Anyway, this one is about using Worbla. Now, I got this little sink when I bought a lot of vintage furniture, and it didn't have a drawer, so I made the drawer, and I'll show a little bit more about making drawers later on. I was watching Bentley House Minnie's live stream, and she was working with Worbla, and I thought, what better chance than sit and work with Worbla myself. I usually use the Worbla for my dolls, and I make shoes and little things for them out of the Worbla. It's really a great product. It's a thermoplast, I believe they say, and I use that towards my making all sorts of things. So you do heat it up with, I'm using a hair dryer. That's really all you need. And I'm just making like the little spout for this piece that I got and that didn't have a spout for it. Now, this Worbla thermoplastic is not cheap, so if you order some, just make sure you don't throw any of the pieces away, because you can actually take your scraps and mold and heat them up and mold them as well. and use it carefully, I guess, is another thing. Make it last a long time. But yes, it's been very handy, and I've really enjoyed being able to use it. And I have a nice boo-boo on my hand, I just noticed in this video. Sorry about the lighting. Once again, I don't know what happened here, but it's just very dark. But this, I am working with some dark stuff. Now, I will be a lot of adjustments, by the way, to get this to fit the way I wanted it to. It's not a quick and easy fix. I guess a lot of other things could have been used, like if I had like a pipe or something that I could have used. I've also seen like people use the little channel cut strips to make these pieces, but my pump definitely needed a spout or it was just going to spill everywhere. My advice, and this has come from other miniature makers, is take your time. These things are not quick, little, easy things to do. A lot of it because it is so tiny. Let me put it this way. A little mistake shows up big on a miniature. So I'm using some brown paint that I have. I'm trying a couple of colors to see what colors that I wanted. And I picked out one that worked pretty well, matched up well. And then I came back and I brushed over all of the piece to just show that it's kind of blended it all in. So by doing that, I was able to make it look like that was not a drawer I made out of popsicle sticks. So far with my miniatures, I haven't been doing a lot of building, but I have been doing a lot of repair work and adding on, embellishing and things like that. So I forgot to mention in the chair video that I did add those back legs because the legs were missing. So I encourage you to find pieces that are broken or damaged and just play around with trying to make them better, just like you would if you were thrifting furniture. Now this cabinet was so cute, and tiny, very tiny. And it was the first piece I actually worked on. And I replacing the fact that it doesn't have the glass, I'm just using something from I think I have strawberries, what was that? My croissants came in that. Yeah, so I used one of those plastic containers you get from the grocery stores. I recycled it. And I also made my drawers, well, out of popsicle sticks again. So you can see how that's coming together. And these shears is something we had and needed new blades. Very rusty, very nasty. But they were still cutting. I don't really like using it, but it kind of did the trick for now. I would like to have something better in my tool chest. We did replace the blade, but it does tend to dimple, or that's not the word I want. It does compress the wood before it cuts it, and so you kind of get that little dent, and I don't really like that technique. So I want to show you all that. Now you see all these little pieces that I have of wood cuts that I had a whole bag full, so that was going to be fun to play with. Oops, and Jerry dropped stuff. And I'm going to add some little decorations on the back using foam. I'm using this fun foam that I got a bag at a thrift store. You know, my favorite one, Rolling Hills Ministries. Yay! And so I thought I would cut these up and have some fun. So here I have finished making my little drawers. Like I said, first time, not perfect, but it was a learning experience. And I have just cut out these little pieces of foam and stuck down. A little bit more difficult to work with than I thought. You can't just stick them on with a sticky on the back. You really need to use Mod Podge or some kind of glue. And I did use glue and went over them with Mod Podge. So those are just some fun ideas to have in your stash if you're working with miniatures for the first time. Yeah, start finding weird stuff like this to incorporate into your designs. So I'm just going to show how I've added the plastic to this. And I really like this plastic because it had like these striations in it and it looked kind of cool. So here I am painting and touching up. I'm trying to keep it the color that it was. But as I go through, you're going to see it does evolve into something else. And oh yes, I'm using a toothpick to make sure I have. Yeah, you really need to get around with this Mod Podge. You really want to get around all the little edges, and with the brush I wasn't able to because I wanted to create like a film over everything to paint on top of, and I didn't want the paint to like try to get in under the sticker. So you can see me kind of messing with the toothpicks there with some Mod Podge. Yes, I was having trouble videoing this using StreamYard. I don't know what happened. I was just getting a bad reception, but I kind of want to go through the process to show you how I am prepping everything, and I using a product, and I forgot what that was. Hang on a second. That's a gel medium that is a white instead of a clear. Instead of what I usually use, which was Mod Podge. Sorry, I said Mod Podge. I was using gel medium. And I am playing with something. I'm just looking for like little sequins for little circles and things like that to decorate with. The little sequins you can buy can actually look like studs, and it's really cute. But right now I am trying to make the knobs for this piece. And I'm pulling out some knobs that I already had. You can also get those really cute fancy toothpicks, and if you've ever seen the ones that look like they're kind of carved at the ends and cut off the ends, those make really good knobs as well. A lot of things you can use for knobs, like beads. So I just encourage you to be creative. I mean, this is your thing and it's a lot of fun, so have fun with it. I did spend a lot of time on this, like I always do, because some of it was experimental and seeing what I liked and what I wanted to do with it. So after painting it orangey brown, I decided I wanted it more of a black. So I created sort of a glaze using some black paint and a little of this paint extender that I use by Plaid. I'm a Plaid Ambassador, so I plug in some Plaid every now and then. And I ended up kind of going over everything. Well, I didn't kind of, I actually did go over the whole thing with a blacker paint. It's not a true black, it's got a little bit of a brown to it. And plus it's kind of a glaze. But I put it on really thick. I tried where it distressed and all. I didn't like it, so that's why I painted it the whole color. You can see some of my orange shining through right there. But this is a very small piece, and these little chairs that I have are really small, way smaller than the typical 1/12 scale which I like to work with. Now this is a 1/12 doll, and you can see how she's the wrong size. However, look how adorable this looks with Calico Critter's house. I bought a Calico Critter's house that I thought I would redo by incorporating more of my own pieces too, and I thought that was a really cute example. Now, speaking of scale, this armoire was the wrong size. I thought I had a before picture of it. I can't believe it. But it's a pretty standard piece, and once again, sorry about the blur. I'm just not getting good stuff from my StreamYard. So I added all this material to it. I made legs out of beads on a skewer, or was it a toothpick? I forgot. But either way, and I added some trim at the bottom and something at the top. Then I added the little top piece, and that's just a piece of wood that I had like from the bag of wood I showed earlier. And it's a plastic pearls that I had for some trim as well. And I had a good time with this, and it is weird because I'm starting by painting it brown, and you will see the transformation coming up. So I'm using a combination of paints to try to match up the browns and get it all together. I did need to do a couple of coats. Oh, I did Mod Podge that first, or gel medium. I did something to prime it before I painted everything, especially the plastic. Those little pearls and everything, they need to be in that foam. Always has to have something on it first. Now, you see me painting it brown, and you will see a photo of it finished in brown, but I took it another step. I added a crackle medium over the brown. The problem with the crackle medium was it was old, and I have no idea why it didn't set up, but it didn't, and I didn't get the crackle effects that I wanted. I got some interesting techniques, but I ended up taking this a totally different direction, and that's the fun of doing these pieces yourself. Just play with them. I would much rather spend my time playing with this little piece of furniture than to be doing all of this on a major piece for your house. So if you'd like to do, this is the crackle medium effect. So if you like to do this kind of stuff and you want to kind of experiment at first, get you some tiny furniture and do it on a small scale. And that is what we're hoping to incorporate into our channels. I was like ours, mine, and Nancy's, is to encourage you to try some of these small things. Make a small room, get a dollhouse, and things like that, and do what you love. So there's some pictures of it finished. Well, I also picked up this refrigerator, and this is just like a thing I wanted to throw in. I got this from a lot where I bought a house with furniture in it, and I decided to add silver. As you can see, it was brassy, and I wanted to look more like the authentic refrigerator, so I painted the handle silver, and I added some silver to the coils. I also got this adorable range that was missing a leg, and I actually had a spare leg from another lot that I purchased that I could repair it with, so I'm so excited. So I did that and painted it white. The leg was a tiny bit different, but it's in the back, and you really can't see it when it's in the dollhouse, so I just made do with what I had. I want to encourage you to try this out. It is a lot of fun. Like I said, just make a little room, or just make, hey, a little thing to set on a shelf. Find some broken pieces and try to repair them. And hey, build your own. There's a lot of good patterns available online, so check those out. And please join Nancy and me on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time when we go live working on miniatures. I have some houses I'm going to be working on. Want to do a house then check out Facebook Marketplace and local listings to see if you can find one that someone is trying to get rid of and make it your own, or buy a kit and try that out as well. I want to remind you to please check out the playlist in the description below because you want to check out all the other tiny treasures the participants made. Thanks for watching, and please be sure you hit like and subscribe and hit that notification button because you do want to catch our lives, and sometimes I do make pretty good videos. Bye!